All right, we are live. Hello, I'd like to conduct the meeting for March the 24th, 2026 for the Animal Welfare Control and Education Board at 6 p.m. Can I make a motion to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Motion.
Motion passed. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I can't hardly spell indivisible, pronounce invisible anymore.
All right, the approval of the agenda. The agenda was given by Charlie to all of us. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Yeah, I'll motion.
I'll second.
Tanya?
I'll second.
Tanya and Jim, can I make a motion to approve? Or anybody agree? Oh, everybody agree to aye. Get my bearings straight. It's been 2 months or 3 months. The agenda is approved. Okay. Okay, due to the fact that we did not have a meeting in January, there are no minutes. The minutes that we had from December, do we have them?
I think we accepted those in January.
January. Yeah. We didn't have a meeting in January because of the weather. That would have been,
I thought we had one meeting this year already.
nope, we haven't had a meeting since December.
Okay, well then December.
Yeah, we showed up.
Yeah, it was bad weather
Yeah.
that weekend. We decided to cancel due to the fact of the snow and the ice and everything else, so.
Can we table the minutes from December
Yeah.
until I'm able to locate them? They're on my computer somewhere.
Minutes from December will be tabled. Can I make a motion to do that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Charlie and Tanya.
In 4 and 5, we probably ought to flip. Oh, well, I mean, not 4 and 5, but 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Since there's no public comments. Unless.
Give somebody a chance to come in.
And we can do it at the end if somebody shows up.
All right. All right. Well, first things first, we'll wait for Adam if he shows up for the board realignment, like he said. All right, we have any public comments? Pretty sparse crowd tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it as the public, at our Humane Society meeting, so I'll be making it as the Humane Society meeting. Charlie came forth and proposed, a suggestion 2 months ago, and then just at our meeting, he suggested that we change the way that the Humane Society accept funds, because we've never accepted funds from any government entity. And he wants to, through the board, create a way to have funds sent to the shelter and Humane Society for the specific purposes of spay and neuter.
Mm-hmm.
And we agreed to that. The directors voted on that at our meeting. So starting as of whenever the board comes up with a plan to be able to funnel that money to the shelter, the Humane Society will accept the money for those specific purposes. And probably, like, for instance, on May 17th, we have the public vet come in, and that would help us because that's a big cost to us.
So how will people go about donating to just that specific?
That's what we're going to be talking about, and we're
Okay,
going to get realigned.
all right. Good enough.
All right. Thanks for the update on that, Jim.
I don't think Adam's gonna make it.
I don't think so, because he's 10 minutes, 8 minutes late already, so.
We have
Might
a
add something
quorum,
up.
so we can continue on.
All right. Okay, well, I guess what we have to go through, I guess the CADs and stuff, plus we've had some stuff that has come up within the last month or so, or maybe longer.
This basically came across to me today. Was the
Okay.
first I'd heard about it.
All right. Like I say, as far as we, is concerned about the dog and the pups living in the shed at Troy,
No, this was in
Oh,
Tell City.
the Artel City.
This morning. A matter of fact, it was this morning, and there is on Facebook a video of them retrieving these animals.
So you're, as the Tell City representative, you're going to get what the Tell City.
I'm going to speak to the Tell City Police Chief regarding, because we're getting, and we need to talk to Camilton too, because they gave me an incident up there where dogs were left in a abandoned house. They knew that we're in the house, and the dogs broke through the front windows to get out, and were sitting on the front porch. We just need to know, these are cases of abuse or neglect, and there needs to be something done. And I don't know where the ball is falling short, if it's from the officer making a report, sending to the prosecutor, or them doing that and dropping in the prosecutor's lap, and they're not doing anything. But we really need to know what's going on and try to work together
Yeah.
to get these things, because as long as it's allowed, you know as well as I do, it's going to continue.
Yep.
It's only gonna snowball and get
Right.
worse.
Exactly.
If people would be a little more accountability, it'd be a lot less of it happening, I think.
So I will be talking to Derek here very shortly about that, to just find out. And again, I'm not accusing anyone or blaming anyone. If there's a problem, we need to get that problem fixed
Yeah,
and work together on it.
yeah, because, I mean, really, somebody needs to be, fines need to be handed out or something needs to be
Exactly.
done, because if
And-
not, it's just gonna, people are gonna learn that the stuff's getting solved, and they're just gonna just ag it on and do it that much more.
I mean, you never hear about any kind of
No.
fines or anything, or people complaining like, oh, I got wrote up for this. I mean, it's just,
And speaking as a retired police officer, I understand that's not really high on their priority list.
Yeah.
Juveniles and animals were real down on my list too. But the problem is, if we can work together and get some paperwork filed and the
Yeah.
prosecutor follows through. And remember, it doesn't matter what the officer does. It's up to the prosecutor if they want to file it or not. If
Exactly.
they choose not to, there's not a thing anybody can do. So I'm not putting all the blame on the police department.
So
Right.
nothing's happened with the shed incident besides the animals being taken.
No, and Molly really did, Ann was the one telling me about it. So I guess the shelter got a call about it. They went down there and they recovered them today.
So those animals, they're at the shelter now.
They're at the shelter. I think it was 5 pups and the mother. And if you go to their Facebook account, you'll watch, there's a video of it.
Was it with a mess in the shed? Pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, something should be done there for sure.
as I said, I will talk to Derek. And then I will report back the next time we meet regarding that. The other incident took place in Troy. And to make a long story short, it was an animal bite. And the animal that did the biting was adopted from the shelter back in December. And when I didn't know anything about it till today, and when I spoke to Molly, and she said that they had told the family that adopted this dog that it doesn't do well around other dogs and not to have any other dogs. And they agreed. But apparently between now and then they had gotten a pup. And I don't know what took place, but the wife was bitten in the face by the dog. She had to go to get medical treatment, a couple stitches. And apparently they live in Troy, so they called the sheriff's department. And I can't speak of what took place there. I wasn't there and didn't know. There was arrangements made for the owner of the dog to take it back to the shelter, and the deputy met him up there, and they put him in one of the outside cages. the issue came about was the shelter didn't know anything about the bite. And that could cause some serious problems.
That's a huge deal.
Right. So communication again, I know there's a little friction between departments and the shelter because the shelter's not going out picking up animals after hours anymore. And they basically said that and informed the entities that if they get called out and they have to go out, they're going to charge the police department for going out.
And
So-
all they should.
And so they are, not getting any calls, but, they were told we have these outside kennels. They can be brought and put by the officer or someone in there
Mhm.
with a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
Which they followed through with that, but they didn't leave any documentation telling anybody that this dog had bitten someone until later. So that's another thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. How could that documentation more easily get? Be
Well,
mailbox?
And Molly told me, she said, a situation like that, she doesn't care if she gets a call at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's, that is a safety factor towards her employees that she needs to know about.
Yeah, there needs to be
So,
something that
there-
they know before they even mess
Yeah,
with
on
the
a
documentation.
bite situation, I think that they need to notify her, and she said she's not gonna be upset if they call her at 4:00 in the morning, warning her about what she's gonna walk in on the next morning.
I wonder if there's something that they could possibly do to flag, like when they bring that dog into that kennel, to put a red flag up that says, hey,
That, or even
just something.
a note,
Yeah, I mean,
anything, just to let somebody know.
There was
just
some
a warning.
yeah.
That or at 8:00 or 7:00 in the morning, and leave a note for dispatch to call Molly.
Mhm.
That they don't have to wake her up because nobody's gonna mess with that animal until, somebody gets
Till
there.
opening
At least
hours.
they have, some sort of notification.
I think
Yeah.
a drop box with a flat, they would know and push, open up the drop box, inside the little button, and when that comes on, it would be like a real, not a major, but a small red flash. So when they came in, they immediately see that,
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the tag was a good idea, something on the outside of cage, you
Yeah.
see the color.
Just for anybody.
And
So you don't go in
most of
there.
the officers have, do not cross tape.
Sure.
You could put that up and that would
Any kind of
notify them.
warning.
Yeah, something easy
Yeah, if they see that, Molly would just know to call the dispatch.
to find out
Yeah,
if they hadn't heard already.
yeah,
Again, we have no control over any of this. This is
Yeah.
just suggestions.
yeah.
Yeah, Molly and them, they probably,
And I think I'll mention
they're
that
gonna do
too.
with that. It'd make it easier and safer for everybody,
Yeah.
just in case.
Exactly. And,
Doesn't
even
get
if,
through the
even
channels.
if you just got some red, rags,
I think
Yeah.
just something that if anyone were to walk in there, they
could
could
hang
see,
it on there
not
and,
even like an employee, but just
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah,
when we finally got them to do the first thing of building the outside kennel, they didn't lock the kennel down in the first 3 weeks. The kids were coming at night with dogs in there,
Mhm.
literally lifting up the kennels and taking the dogs.
What if there's a dog that bites and kids come in, they try to pet it, they
That
stick their
could've-
fingers
Yeah,
in?
exactly.
Easily happened, and it never
Well-
did, or if they did, they didn't report it, so.
The caution tape is a pretty good.
and see the deal is those pins are inside the fence area.
Okay.
So, and the officers have a way to get inside it. It's not public knowledge.
I
So
haven't seen them,
that might
so.
cut back on, but I agree, there's gotta be some sort of marking device just to let somebody know, hey, there's something about this animal.
Yeah.
My understanding, it's in quarantine by the health department, and my understanding, it's probably going to be euthanized, because when I read the bite report, that the picture I got, supposedly it had bitten the child of the owners twice
Mhm.
prior. So that's 3 bites.
Is that the shrikes that we have? Here, the count of 3 bites.
Yeah. Well,
I know there was talk.
and it's also a liability to the shelter. They can't adopt it out knowing
Yeah,
its
exactly.
background.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lose-lose situation, that's what it is.
yeah, exactly. I hate it, but it's part of it. Apparently, we donated that money out of our fund at the end of the year for these circumstances, so the shelter's not technically out of their budget for the quarantine.
Yeah.
And the euthanasia.
Yeah, I think that is probably the best route, because I'm sure after the bite, just the negative experience for the dog kind of acts like PTSD is going to be more likely to bite in the future.
Exactly. So, those were the two big things. She didn't, Kim from the health department didn't send any other bites from February, I don't think. I think I had some last meeting with me, but nothing new since then.
Well, I guess one thing that we probably really need to go ahead and do, no matter what, we need to get our board realignment. So, first thing, does anybody disagree with doing with what they are doing right now? Or does anybody want to change with what they are doing right now? I'll agree to be president and command meetings.
Sounds good to me.
I would rather not, do the minutes. I have a hard time remembering to do those things. Jim had mentioned something, and I'll open the floor up to him.
Well, what I was thinking was, the reason I was thinking, Charlie, that you might want to take over the chair is because all of everybody, all the players. That was my, because I know he has to, sometimes he's got a
Yeah.
situation with the farm.
I could do the minutes. I have no problem with minutes. I can be secretary.
Charlie, would you be interested in, because.
I did not know it, Adam, I've been here a couple of years. You've done a great job. I don't want to offend
No,
you.
I could do minutes too. I do
I-
them for other things
If the
too.
board members feel they have confidence in me, I'd be more than happy to do it.
Well,
That's
the
fine with
main
me.
reason is you communicate with everybody, and sometimes he can, sometimes he can't.
Yeah.
And I just think maybe it's time for, since you.
I'll leave it up to the board. I'm willing to do
I'm
it.
gonna make a motion that whoever wants to be in what position, I would like to see Charlie chair for at least 1 year.
Yeah, I second.
Charlie, you agreed to do the chair? Charlie
I will
agrees to do the
the
chair.
board.
We're gonna make a vote on it? You wanna vote?
I vote
Yeah, but
aye.
Aye.
I'll
Charlie,
abstain.
Charlie, you have no choice.
And Adam's secretary, good deal.
Okay.
It might be a little bit rougher for me getting them to, I'll write them down, but getting them to sent out might be a little.
Hey, that's all right.
more. It might be more of a picture and send type.
There you go.
I'm a picture and send type person.
That's fine. I really do think we need to have a vice president in case some night that I'm not able, and I would nominate Robert.
Yep,
all right.
I like
I'll
it.
do that, yeah.
I second that.
Oh,
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
all right.
Are you gonna be secretary and treasurer? No. We don't.
Treasurer, who wants that
Yeah.
job?
Right.
That's an easy job.
That'd be, yeah, I'll take that one. That's easy.
Thursday night, there is a council meeting. I plan on being there to ask the council to make that appointment. I think there's still some misunderstanding about the ordinance because we no longer have that in the ordinance that they have to be of a certain, so many members of a certain
Mhm.
animal. It
Right?
can be any resident of the county.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to make that clear to them on Thursday night and ask them to get our seventh member.
Well, it's in writing now, isn't it?
I don't think they've even looked at that ordinance.
Right.
I don't even know if they're aware that it was,
Amended.
amended.
Yeah.
Or rewrote completely.
Yeah.
So,
Because I'm going there I'm trying to get as many, obviously, it's an
Right.
update for the Humane Society. I'm trying to get at least 100 members this year so that the Humane Society has a little bit of clout when it talks to whoever and whatever. Well, when I went to the commissioner said, we think that I was trying to get that fund, and they didn't want to do the fund because, at the time, because there was so much politics going on with the state. And so they said, we want the Humane Society to figure out a way and we'll try to help. I said, that's great. But now, to get help, I need members. And so I've already approached Cannleton, and I already approached the commissioner, but Thursday, I'm gonna ask the council, hey, here's membership form. You guys become a member, you help support us if you're gonna say, okay, with the Humane Society ought to do it.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna be there Thursday for that
Yeah.
purpose.
And one of the other things I'd like to do with the board's permission is use our Facebook account to promote the Humane Society, the shelter for donations.
Yeah.
And when we get to later on talking about this TNR, promote that on it also.
I'll tell you what, we do have a fantastic situation that's evolving here. We were talking about the schools. I know that we put that off onto the table but Robert with his exotic animals, that would bring a lot of, attention,
interest.
really interest. So I think we ought to come up with a program that Robert can head in a way to get to the guys and tell how important it is for the neuter to spay. At the same time, he's showing the 15-legged dogs or whatever.
Robert, you're being thrown under the bus by Jim, but I'll make a motion if you would come up with a program and present it to us, and then we go forward with it.
Yeah, it might be an interesting way to get some people at Humane Society meetings,
Exactly.
things like that.
Yeah, I think so.
In the public, different places because as many as he's getting with his latest acquisition, that's gonna get people's attention, the kids especially. And then while you got their attention, then you come how important it is to neuter and spay and all that.
So is there any truth, Jim? I heard that you donated money for him to buy a baby elephant. Is that true?
No, but I've got
Is that what's in your barn out there?
Sitting on an elephant.
I've got stuff that I'm trying to beg him to take. He does. Kira and him now the Humane Society has a kennel, and I said, your guys are going to use it more than me, so I gave them but it still belongs to the Humane Society, but they can use that for any things like ducks. I think they're.
I apologize for that remark.
Keep everything small. I don't want no tigers for me.
Okay. We've been through that once before, lions and tigers.
Yeah.
So,
We're talking about that.
All
Netflix thing.
So do we agree that Robert's going to come up with a
Yes,
plan?
I made a motion.
I'll second it.
I'll second it.
Yeah, there you go.
I've not seen a Zorse or an elephant in Perry County.
Is that like a zebra hybrid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't put it on.
Yeah, I'm not wishing for it.
All right. We've been talking about future meetings. And we've thrown this out and about maybe not having it every month, maybe every other month, unless we have something that comes up that we need to call a special meeting. And I like that idea. And because I had just found out that next month, this room is not available. We would have to have it at the Armory if we were going to have a meeting next month.
What's the primary?
They're doing the early voting in here. So I would like to make a motion that we go every other month unless something comes up where we can call a special meeting.
And we can even do it at the library if we want.
Right.
Because that's good, they have a good meeting place
Yeah,
there.
so I'd like to make that motion.
Okay. So when would we start that?
We would skip April
Okay.
and go right into May.
All right.
And then we would still have it on the fourth Tuesday
Tuesday, all
night at 6:00 here.
Yeah, I'll second it.
I will let the auditor's office know so they cleared it. Because they're the ones that told me we couldn't use this room in April. And with everything we've got going on, that gives us a little bit more time for Robert to get his
Yeah.
program and
Get that
what else I'm gonna talk about tonight.
Get that elephant.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I'll second it. Charlie?
All in favor?
Uh,
Okay, passes 5-0.
We're getting something done tonight.
Yeah.
When you have a quorum, you can. The other thing, and Jim talked about it, that I had spoken to the Humane Society and I'd already talking to the shelter about special funds for spade and neutering. And what brought this about was, we do not have any funding. Jim's worked very hard trying to get an account, and it's like beating your head against the wall. So I came up with the idea of we know this shelter already had one because of the funds that we gave them. I asked the Humane Society if they could come up with one for spade and neutering. And the reason I did that is because I would like to do a TNR, trap and release of cats. And I'd already talked to the city, since I am their representative, and asked for hot spots, and they gave me several spots. And we had a discussion that I'm going to research the areas that they have given me to see. But I don't really want to get it out in public, because they brought up a good idea that if people know ahead of time, they may be dumping other cats there. So let's deal with the population that we have. I have 3 that I'm going to research in Tell City. Life is not perfect, and we're not going to solve the problem overnight, but my goal is to try to have at least one in Tell City, one in Troy, and one in Camilton this year, if we can get the funding. And that's the thing, the funding. Jim and I have spoken to a lady who has a grant through Community Foundation. I spoke to Community Foundation. They feel like that they can probably help out. I need to get a hold of the Kathy, the treasurer with the Humane Society, to see if she would write up a cover letter to send to the foundation for funding. I really, in my mind, and I'll leave it open to the board to talk about it, I would like to see the possibility of the first time at least 12 cats. We may not be able to get 12 cats out of one area, but we may be able to do 2 areas and take 6 and 6, as long as we mark the cages that we know that, and to bring them back to the area they're at. A lot of feedback from the public is that they don't like the idea of returning them. That's what the TNR program's all about, trapping and then returning, release them back in the area. And I have talked to Alley Cats in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, I think the 2nd of April, I'm taking a trip up there. They invited me to come see their
right.
establishment. The lady that's now in charge of that is originally from Evansville. She knows Tell City. So she's invited me up there. I plan on going up and seeing it and trying to work out some sort of, plan with them, set a date, and then they will help also with the TNR, giving us information. I think Robert has some information on TNR, and trying to go ahead and do it. Since it is my plan, I'm going to ask for help, but I will probably be one of the main ones involved in the trapping and transporting the first time to see how that goes.
Do we have multiple traps
We can get,
available?
the shelter has them, matter of fact, I think Alley Cats have some, and I'm going to ask them if
Okay.
we could borrow some.
So we're going to be informing the residents in the immediate area.
Yes, that's one of the big things that we want to talk to the people.
Mhm.
Once I find out what area we want to look at,
Mhm.
then we want to meet with them, explain the program to them.
Have some like pamphlets that we can
Right.
send out.
And that would be great.
hangers or something.
And we've got to inform them, there's a procedure that for them to stop feeding, let us do it because the land, when I read the thing, it's talking about, you put the traps out without it being able to close. So they get used to going in the trap
Mhm.
and eating.
Yeah.
And then on the morning that we decide to do it, we'll set the springs that when they go in, they get caught. And then we'll transport them, because they actually want us to bring them up in the afternoon
Mhm.
and then come back the next day to get them. Now, they said that they would fix the cat. They'll give the cat the shots. They'll test the cat for any kind of disease. If the animal has a disease that they can't take care of, they'll humanely put the animal down, which, I have no problem with that being done humanely for $50 each. So I'm asking in the grant for $600 for 12 cats. Okay,
Next meeting, I'll get a pamphlet made and we can vote on. the
sounds
list.
great. And this is the way, like I said, I don't think anybody's gonna understand it until we finally do it and show them that, what's going on. But I want people to understand, and that's another thing about our website. I want to put that on there, that people understand what the TNR is, why, it's a formula that a lot of communities do, and that it works. And
As long as you educate everybody in that area, you
Right.
educate the people, because if they're not educated, they'll go out and do the same thing because, oh, that's a cute little kitten, and they'll not, they won't push the issues that, and I think that's where that program where we can start with the youth, because there's the secret of
Right.
going to the grade schools
Exactly.
and explain to them with, while he's doing that, what the TNR program is and why it's important.
in alley cats, I'm almost positive they said they clip the ear.
Yeah, that'd be good.
They notch it.
They notch it, so it indicates that, we know that one's been taken care of. The other thing, and Jim brought this up, and I really didn't think a whole lot about it, in this area, the first area I'm looking at, there's a lot of cats that are house cats, but they let them out.
Yes.
We want to make sure we talk to the owners to say, hey, during this time, please keep your animal. And maybe even after we trap them, we may let the owners come out and say, hey, contact them, say, hey, make sure one of these is not your pet.
We don't want to catch Fluffy
Yeah.
and take Fluffy,
Fluffy's already been fixed and
take
everything,
it for a trip.
and they start calling the police department saying somebody stole our cat.
There's
So
one thing that
I think we just have to keep
whoever wants to do it, there
communication.
is one thing they have to be trained on. That's what, if we run over and I did this multiple times, but I've been lucky. We could, in Tell City, you're gonna be able to trap skunks. You're gonna get a skunk in there every once in a while. And I've shown people how to do it, but they were scared to do it, so I've done it myself. But I've been very lucky, but that doesn't mean I'd be lucky every time. So whoever's gonna be doing this, needs to know the procedure of how to deal with a skunk or what to do with the skunk. And that's where I think these, like Tell City, okay, what do you want to do with any skunk that's collected? You see where I'm coming from? Then here's got the animal people that.
Well, since you brought that up, there was an incident just the other day where neighborhood called the health department about a skunk that was running around in circles. And apparently they went to the scene and they put the skunk down, okay? And then the health department took it and removed the head to send it off to make sure, it didn't have rabies.
And in 90% of those cases, those skunks, just like the cats, people mix certain things in the water or the food,
Trying to poison.
and they do poison them.
Yeah.
That could get big again, and that's when you see them start doing in circles, that's the first sign they've been.
How'd the test come back? Negative?
This just recently
Oh,
happened, so.
something they haven't got.
Yeah, they haven't got any report on, but they did call a conservation officer and they said they wouldn't mess with it inside the city.
So,
They
wow.
won't do anything anymore.
Not a skunk.
You cannot get them to, what they used to, 25 years ago, when I called them, they would write on this, no matter where, they were doing great. And all at once, about the politics changed,
Mhm.
and they don't want to deal with it. I got this, and they say, oh, you have to take it back, like a tortoise on the road. Somebody picks up a tortoise, takes it with them. I got this tortoise, what do I do? Go pick, and I tell you, take it back and set it right where you found it. But they won't touch them anymore.
So that is my plan.
Mhm.
I will keep everyone on this board informed by emails.
Do we have a month that we're shooting for, or is it still kind of?
I would like to have it ready by no later than the first week in May,
That's funny.
because we're getting into the season where kittens. And-
Should be born by then.
and the thing about it is, I want to find, the question came up about a cat that is pregnant. And I want to talk to Alley Cats on how they handle that.
Yeah.
I think it probably depends on how old
Probably a boredom, I think.
Yeah.
They
And
have
then-
to.
fixed. So, and then I know people will be upset about that, but the problem is we've got to control the population.
Yeah, the thing is, where would those kittens go, you know?
Yeah, there'll just be 6 more mouths to feed, and within 3 months, 4 months, they're going to be old enough that they start having it.
Yeah,
So,
it's the unfortunate reality.
yes. So, and that's why we've got also to publicize, hey, if you want a pet, that's great, but get them fixed.
Yeah.
So I'm asking the board for permission to continue my research into this, to keep you informed of this TNR.
I make the motion.
I'll second that.
Aye.
Aye.
Again, I want to stress, not only between us and board members, but everyone else, we need to have the communication. We're very lucky to have that shelter. I know there's a lot of friction there. As I had told Molly, and I think everybody on this board's heard me tell her that they are not animal control. We appreciate. And I've been around here long enough to know that if you keep doing it, they're going to keep calling.
Exactly.
So sooner or later, you have to put your foot down and say, we can't do this. We don't have the manpower or the facilities.
Or the
And
funds.
with the 5 pups and the mother today, they're almost back at red, where they won't be able to accept any more animals for a while.
What are we gonna do in those situations?
I really don't know. And, I know I'm talking about TNR for cats, but another issue we need to address are dogs.
There's a lot of stray dog population.
Yep.
I mean, TNR will definitely help out with the shelter population as far as cats goes, but.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna do it. And as I told Molly today when I met with her, I said, I've been dealing with the Humane Society, but I don't want to leave them out. They're very important in this whole process too. So I want all 3 organizations to work together.
And I think it's extremely important. Because people they get calls concerning Humane Society, and the Humane Society gets calls to shelters, and all the time I have to direct them and explain to them that they're not open on Sunday, they're not open usually on Monday,
Yeah.
unless it's an emergency, Then what do I do? Well, I wish I could tell you the answer. If it's a situation where there's danger, you need to call the police department immediately. Call the police department and report it.
Well,
Because that's the most important thing,
Yeah.
so we can get a file, that there's something put together so that it can be investigated, just like you said.
I go back and I will harp on this issue until the day I think I'm gone, is that we need an animal control officer,
I agree.
without a doubt.
Yep.
And when you have things like that, it costs money. But then you have someone to turn to help.
And it frees up law enforcement to do.
Exactly. And I spent 24 years as a police officer. I didn't like animal calls, didn't like juvenile call either, but that's part of it because they are a nuisance.
The juveniles?
No. I don't have a comment on juveniles. The animals are nuisance. And that's what I said, Jim and I talked about TNR several years ago, and I wasn't a big fan of it because I still consider them a nuisance.
Yeah.
But the more research I've done on it, I've learned a lot about it.
Yeah, it's the most cost-effective way.
Exactly.
And it's gonna, I mean, like, it's not gonna happen overnight.
No.
It's,
You got to start somewhere.
yeah,
And like I said, my concern right now are the three entities inside city limits.
Yeah.
County, Mother Nature takes care of it.
Yep.
We don't have that type of Mother Nature in the city.
no.
No.
And the
So,
welfare of the
I know
animals.
where I live.
right, exactly.
If they-
And somebody did ask me,
Close to
and Robert, I'm gonna
Anderson,
ask you
Right.
this. If, let's just use the example, let's say in an area we trap 6 cats and have them fixed and we bring them back, and somebody would want those cats.
Why not?
Yeah.
They should be able to be adopted,
Mhm.
don't you think?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know that even
At least
adopted, they want them, they
relocated.
can have them.
Okay, I don't think that would really be a violation of
If you're
the,
able to capture that cat and bring it home. it's
You
your
know
pet.
what?
Yeah.
Uh,
Then someone's feeding it at
Yeah.
least, you know?
Cause they don't belong to anybody,
No,
so.
Keita may
So-
be involved in this because she's setting up through our Facebook uh, for the Humane Society. Maybe we can actually feature them,
That was the plan.
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
If somebody somebody asked me about, a farmer that might want it as a barn cat,
Mhm,
but it's fixed and they don't have to worry about all the offspring.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to violate the program, but I know.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it's better for, it's essentially the same, we've neutered a cat, it need to get neutered anyway. And this way, the welfare of the cat's gonna be improved, it's gonna
Right.
be out of, the wild, they're gonna be fed there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's obviously the best. Getting a home,
Sounds
but-
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I said, communication, I'm going to start posting things on our Facebook account about what we're looking into and trying to do. And going to ask for, the only way we're going to be able to do this is for donations. I know people get tired of giving, but we know we're not going to get any money from the county or the cities because they're strapped.
Well,
So-
getting out there and actually doing something might help improve because they're gonna see that stuff is happening, they might wanna donate.
Yeah.
Because they see, actual improvement happening.
And they don't understand both in the direction that they have control.
At the very least, they see their money going somewhere, right?
Right. And I hope that we can get with Katie with the news and get her to publicize it.
Oh, I think she'd be happy to put together an article on that. I can't speak. See, they're the bosses, I'm just a peon in there.
I think Katie would do it.
Anyway, is that it for this evening?
Well, is there any good for the order? I think we went through everything. Anybody have anything to add? Any other projects that we might want to put on the table to look for in the future?
I mean, I'm gonna try and get that pamphlet done, I'll email it, and the next time we'll print it off and we can all
Okay,
see if it's good.
sounds good.
That's pretty much it.
And we may just call a special meeting in April, Robert, after you get that done, so we can get it finalized.
Yeah, so it's gonna be kind of what we're doing and then maybe a brief explanation of what TNR is. right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, some people, unfortunately, we have a TNR liquor. So we have to be careful trying to explain what the TNR.
And I don't know how much on the the difference between the animal shelter and the Humane Society, you can't reiterate that enough. People don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm gonna take my dog up there and drop it off at the Humane Society, and I'm like, you're not. You're not taking it.
Do you think it would help, Jim, if somebody wrote up like a little history? Because years ago, you and I are old enough to remember this, that those two organizations were one
Usually they are.
and they split up.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Because
got
of-
the whole history, that's why I ended up being in the
Yeah.
Humane Society, because I was I was on, before I joined the Humane Society, I helped the old shelter out that was on Shepherd Hatchery Road.
Oh, I remember it well.
I know you will. Anyway, and they couldn't get any funds at all.
Yes.
So the whole situation, that I said, what's the deal? I heard about Margie Husteiner, and I said, I'd never met her. So that's why I went to her at her meeting and said, why can't, she did not, well, it had to do with politics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the
Everything.
bottom line of everything, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We need to do what's best for the animals and best for the people in the
Yeah.
community, no
But
matter what.
the reason I ended up with, because I said to her, if I can get you 100 new members, will you have it, when's the last time you had an election? And they couldn't even remember. And I said, and I talked to the board. I said, if I can get 100 new members, will you have an election? Yes. And I said, are you sure? Yeah, they voted on it. So I got them 119 new members. Next thing I know, they nominated me president. And Margie was mad at me because I ended up being president, but I only wanted, I wanted to be an officer there because I was trying to combine them, but it was too late. The new shelter would not have anything to do, and you well know that too.
Yeah, we won't kick that dog down the road. But yeah, that was a learning experience. Robert, I don't know if I ever told you, I was the very first animal control officer
So you were.
for about 45 days.
So you know the need for one.
So, do we have anything else?
Not that I know of.
I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I would second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are ending this meeting at approximately 6:51. Thank you all for attending.
We got some stuff done tonight.
Yeah.
Are you sure we don't want that?